And it looks like we are off, and this is actually a very favorable start screen right here at Monocle Rock. It's going to give easy access to 3 Armoses already, which is very good considering we're looking for an Armos item here. And we haven't found it yet on BT's side, so it's not going to be there. And I didn't see what Fred had over on his side. It was another staircase as well. So we're going to get our first rupee set here, and 34 rupees, and a decent start there for a medium secret. All right, so I do apologize for that for 1 second. We were getting ourselves all synced up so that I'm not talking way far ahead of you, so I don't spoil anything, so you can get my reactions and Taco's reactions in real time. Speaking of real-time Taco reactions, though, 34 rupees for a mid-secret, that's something you're always happy to see early, right?
Yes, medium secret. I believe it's the most common secret of the game, slightly ahead of the small secret, and when that's up, it's very nice being able to avoid things.
I have to interrupt real quick. Armos item is Lord Banana, be still my beating heart. I'm sorry, I had to. This is the first time I've done a race where Lord Banana has been acquired early. I love it.
Right. Fred has found a dungeon. Can't do too much in it. You know, he's key blocked going north.
And Patra block going to the east there. So this feels like level 6 just based off of the layout, but it could also be level 7 there at that open spot to the west of where the ladder item normally is.
Yeah, it's definitely too early to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, an early boomerang here isn't necessarily the worst thing you could possibly get, because this is, again, HP shuffle for the enemy, so there is a potential for some overworld enemies and some dungeon enemies to be shuffled so that they have 0 HP, which means the boomerang will call them.
Correct. And even if, you know, nothing is set to 0 hit points, being able to just stun and walk through enemies on the overworld is quite the feat, as we see Fred doing on his end, stunning the blue Octoroks. And when enemies are stunned by the boomerang, you can just walk through them. So it definitely makes traversing the overworld so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And Fred discovering the same thing that BT did here in the dead tree up in the northeast, that he had some bombs he could purchase. So that is going to allow him to do the same sort of excavating that BT just did in the northeast.
That is correct. And we did see a... Jeez, for saying that over and over again. I will try to watch myself. But we did see a candle shop on Breasticle's screen. And I don't believe he had enough money to purchase it at the time. It was 41 rupees, heavily discounted, but just not having enough after purchasing the bombs. So having a candle shop that early will probably play into the decision. If they find one of the bonus caves, they may opt not to take the free candle immediately, since the candle is available for purchase at such low price.
Especially because it's on the start screen. All they have to do is, once they get 41 rupees, a candle is just an up A away. And Breastickle now coming across the same level that Fred did earlier, and he's going to find out that he is also going to be blocked because of the Wall Masters and Patra that are coming out to play here. So the one interesting thing to note as we continue along our trek here is that Fred made it all the way to the Coast Cave, but I don't recall him checking and seeing what the Coast item was. Did you, Joe?
If he did, I did not catch it.
Okay, so hopefully we can see what that is over on BT's side of the screen as we make our way to the Coast Cave, and ultimately, hopefully, we get to see what the Coast item is. And I always like to see the Coast item that's something you want to get, but not something that's required. Something like the magic key or the red ring. So it's something that you're going to want to come back to find. And red candle, so that means an early ladder means a free candle. Not necessarily something people are going to come back to find. So we do have some good news for Fred, as we have discovered that the orange moblins are in fact 0 HP. So the boomerang will take care of them, which means he does have at least a source of rupees here in the early going, without having access to a really reliable source of weaponry here. Unfortunately, he is going to catch a door repair charge at level 5, and it's going to nail him for, what was that, 16 rupees? So that's not overly bad.
Yeah, and I wasn't paying attention to that. This Breastickle has just found a dungeon in the burn bush immediately south of the desert.
That's nice, and it's a interesting little color palette here. This sort of, well, it's not quite bubble pop pink, but it's still fairly obnoxiously bright. And Fred has also come across the dungeon here on top of the White Sword Cave on top of the waterfall. Fred has been greeted by a manhandler there in that dungeon, while BT is continuing to make his way up and around. It looks as if BT might be in level 2.
I haven't been fully paying attention. It's definitely not
Nope,
2. I'd
that's
say this
3.
looks more like a 3.
That definitely looks more like a 3, and Fred has found level 8 up in the White Sword Cave. And an interesting find for Fred here, we've already got ourselves a staircase, and he is rewarded with an early item. Unfortunately, it's the heart container. Definitely going to take it because it's going to give him at least a 33% chance to obtain whatever the white sword item is in this seed. But finding early items in a dungeon like that, heart container is one of the items you're hoping, like, I'm okay with this, but it's not what I wanted to find.
BT clearing out all of what he can of level 3 with no keys and no sword. He's going to continue exploring.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of being able to excavate with no keys, Fred is opting to retry as opposed to continue. So basically he's restarted from where he was with those 38 rupees. So he has no extra heart container that he has from level 8, and BT has found our first bonus cave of the day. We have found that the small secrets here are the normal price they are in regular Zelda, 10 rupees. Fred just got one. BT is going to be coming across it right now. But that extra 10 rupees is going to allow Fred to get his blue candle, which both runners having blue candle at about 8 minutes, 10 seconds in. Definitely nice, although we are still hunting for swords here. But we do have quite a lot of open caves left in Hyrule.
And I think both players are comfortable enough going around swordless for a while that they'll probably prioritize exploration and finding where dungeons are over immediately beelining for all the open caves for the wood sword.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's the case with basically all of the runners left remaining in this tournament. The skill level is such that any and all of them could go through a seed swordless and be perfectly fine.
Fred has wandered into Dungeon 3.
And he is going to come across the same sort of issues that BT did with keys. However, Fred opting to be a little bit more frugal with the one key that he has access to right now. So he might be able to continue his way through the dungeon. And yes, now getting the map that we can confirm he is in fact in level 3. And that's a very, very nice white sword item for BT to find there at the potion, or the Take Anyone You Want cave that is on Candle Row. It's the magical key.
Unfortunately, 4 hearts is not going to be enough to let him pick it up.
No, but magical key is an absolutely gigantic item to find, especially when you know where it is. And the earlier you find it, the better, because that means you don't have to worry about picking up key drops in dungeon rooms, and those are approximately, you know, a good 40 to 50% of the drops you're going to find in rooms are going to be keys, so that can significantly speed up your exploration of dungeons.
Both of our runners coming across the any roads.
BT opting to not touch any of them. Fred is opting to take them, however.
Breastickle has found another dungeon.
And that
Take any roads. It's at the level 4 raft spot, so that takes the raft, you know, cuts its chances that it's going to be needed in half.
Yep, and BT has actually found level 1 there because we're getting the hint about where Dodongo is dwelling. So that is level 1 that Breastickle has found, which means he can bomb up in that middle room. He's got 2 items he can find here. And BT going to be able to use the fact that the only thing that can hurt you on a Gleeok is its well, its heads and not its body, to sneak by that and find an early Triforce in a room where the Zols can be killed via boomerang.
Tries to bomb the red dark nuts. Unfortunately, their hit points have been rolled upwards, so he is unable to do anything in that room. He will just take his Triforce and run.
Yeah, so after he's acquired the first Triforce here, he's got his level 1 Triforce right there close to start, and he's going to have to come back here a little bit later, potentially, depending on what items can be found there in level 1. So Fred there was in the process of taking care of Candle Row, but did manage to get himself killed as he was making his way at the corner to the down past the corner spot there, southeast of level 1. And we have got yet another dungeon for Breastickle here. And we've got a vertical river room to start with. So this is going to be very interesting. Well, very interesting indeed. We've got buyers, and with BT having nothing but boomerang, right, and blue candle, this is going to be quite interesting.
And based on the shapes so far, I'm thinking this might be Dungeon 2. I missed where the hint said Dungeon 2 was located. But if this is, he has the potential of finding the item just laying out on the floor. So definitely worth a look around.
Yeah, absolutely. And another good thing, there seems to be quite a few enemies in this seed where the boomerang is actually killing them. We've seen the Zols, the Gels, the orange moblins, and Tektites all be able to be killed with the boomerang. So nice early find for both runners there. Unfortunately, Fred manages to steal a key away from the body of a Gibdo. Just as the Gibdo decided he wanted to slap it away from him, so Fred gets a key but dies for his troubles.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have one key going in, so he was able to get a little further.
Yeah, but still nothing huge there. And thankfully, we are not necessarily ladder blocked on BT's side, because there is a way for him to go through. And Fred has found his first bonus cave, bombing directly to the north of start, so that's going to give him 4 hearts. And in his mind, a 33% chance of picking up the white sword item, but we know that that is not going to work. BT now coming across another secret, and wow, 136 rupees is the large secret in this seed. That is an absolutely affluent amount of rupees, so money should not be an issue at all in this seed for either runner. And speaking of not having issues anymore, BT is the first of our 2 runners to find a weapon. We do have our first sword sighting, and it's going to be the wooden sword taken care of from the cave directly to the north of Vanilla level 3. Now, the good thing about both of those items that Breastickle did just fine there is that Fred is going to be coming across them at least in the fairly near future, as he is entering this large secret cave on the river right now.
Breastickle stumbling across an arrow and cheap bait shop, buys the bait. Will he go back in for the arrows? Looks like he is.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing to buy, especially because you have the money right there for it. And Blue Ring is something that neither of these runners are going to actively go out of their way to find. If they happen to have the money when they get to one, they'll purchase it. But it's nothing they're absolutely gonna need desperately to finish this. However, it looks like BT could have possibly used one there, as that Armo statue decides it wanted to take a bite out of BT because he heard BT tasted like lava cakes.
Fred managing to make it into that staircase the Armos was guarding, and it is a dungeon.
So that's going to be interesting to see how long it takes BT to come back to this dungeon here. And just based on what I'm seeing right now here, well, we've got a bomb upgrade. So based on what I'm seeing, 115 rupees is, we're hoping a price for 6 bombs here, because anything less, that'd be pretty much a ripoff. But we've also got a staircase here in this dungeon, and let's see where this is going to take us. It's going to take us all the way up to the top, so yep, this is level 7.
Breasticle's gone to check out the level 5 waterfall area, and it's come across level 8, so he'll be able to explore that and see how far he can get with the sword.
Yeah, well, exploring this with the sword is going to be a whole lot easier than exploring it without, like Fred had to do earlier. And once BT realizes where he is, he can definitely do some exploring, although we know he's going to find a heart container. And we also know that there is a heart being guarded by a Goma and a double river room on Fred's side. And that manhandler was not playing nicely at all, giving Fred all kinds of trouble. And BT getting the news he already knew by having 4 rooms on the bottom row that he was, in fact, in level 8, the Lion. And look at that, a nice early Triforce in 7 for Fred. So he is more than likely just going to take that Triforce and just be like, nope, nope, later, everybody, I'm getting on up out of here.
Breastickle finding the heart container item. This puts him up to 6, and he will be guaranteed to be able to get that magical key when he makes his way back there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the thing with the magical key is it's on his path back to where he eventually needs to get to anyway, because level 1 and level 2 are both down in that area, as well as the Armo statue that he died on. So it's going to be on his path. So if I'm BT, of course I'm not, but if I was, I'd be making a beeline back to that area now that I have Sword, and I can get the magic key, so keys are no longer going to be an issue. But
Fred,
this is,
having collected money, he's going back in for the bomb upgrade.
That
he's
is
0 bombs right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge, especially considering he was right there, and it's 1 room over to the entrance. This is an absolutely great, great buy for Fred. Even better that it's going to give him the 6 bomb upgrade like we were talking about. That is huge. BT hoping he can bomb up here, and does. He does not get locked in the room with a crazy, creepy spider Goma, and he's rewarded with a manhandle and a diamond staircase, and that diamond staircase is going to contain the power bracelet. So level 8 had some, not necessarily exciting items, but both items you're going to be happy to find. Power bracelet is going to open up some spots in the overworld. Never upset to find a heart container. Now, of course, what BT has to do is he has to make his way all the way over to the nose of the lion there, so he can get the Triforce and get on out of level 8 before Manhandle decides, well, he wants BT for lunch.
revisiting some caves here. I believe he's headed back into level 1, gonna try and give it another shot now that he has a sword and has an extra key.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with Fred is, I don't believe Fred has gone to Candle Row yet, so he does not know that the white sword item in this seed is actually the magical key. We know that he's not going to be able to pick it up with 4 hearts, but potentially he could find a heart container here in level 1, which would give him 5, which might be enough for him to get the magical key.
Yeah, he died while working on Candle Row, so he was unable to find that white sword cave.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is just the Schadenfreude in me. I desperately want that Gleok room to be guarding the second floor item in the floor item in level 1, just because.
Yeah, Breastickle has found the second of the bomb upgrades in level 8.
So that's nice. Unfortunately, that is the much harder one to access because it's buried deep within the tunnels and throws of level 8. So that is not something that you'll see a runner come back for. But something you are going to see a runner go do is pick up the item here in level 1. Hopefully, oh, look at that. We've got silvers.
Very nice find. Not much use to him right at the moment without a bow, but it's always nice to know you're not going to have to dig through 9 in order to try and find them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, finding arrow. The earlier you find silver arrows, the better off you are from a purely just a mentality state, because you never have to worry about, okay, do I have to go back into 7? You don't have to go back in this. I mean, you still have to worry about finding like the bow and all that, but the bow is one of those items that, as you mentioned, can't be in level 9. So the one item that can be that you can complete the game, finding that early. Huge bit of stress off the runners here. However, speaking of stress, BT is a little bit stressed out because he needs a key to get where he needs to go, and he doesn't have one right now.
Yeah, that was the same issue that Fred ran into when he was going through level 8. Now, BT was able to get a few rooms further because of sword, but eventually, both key blocked from getting the Triforce.
And speaking of keys, Fred gets another one for taking out that corridor staircase room with the red dark nuts. And we have a room full of fireballs and Pole's voice, so that is never fun. Fred is hoping that he doesn't have to, and he does not have to take care of that room because we have the raft here in the NSU room. But the blue dark nut decided that nom 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 nom, Fred is tasty.
Now the question, Fred knows that one of the raft spots is completely not needed as it's a take any road. He is going to go back and get that raft just in case the eastern raft spot is required, though.
Well, he still has to go back in and get the Triforce either way. So that is a very gutsy move to go back in, especially considering he's coming in here with 3 hearts, and that room is full of dangerous blue dark nuts. And the most important item has been acquired for BT there. He has got the magical key, the any key if you want to call it that. So now he no longer has to worry about key blocks in any of these dungeons. And Fred with some fancy footwork there to make his way through that room with Pole's voice and fireballs. And he's finally going to be rewarded by getting the raft. Now he just has to walk in and pick up the Triforce, and we'll be good to go here in level 1.
As predicted, BT is making his way back to level 8 just so he can get that Triforce and mark it off his list.
Yeah, and that's actually, I like that play from BT, just walking down real quick, grabbing that Triforce, up-bang, and getting yourself right back up close to where you're going, because you know the path you have to go on. It's just a matter of getting that key to get there. So I do like this call from BT. What I don't like, though, is seeing Fred get that nice, delicious heart refill from the Triforce and immediately get bopped by a blue Lionel on his way to what he is now in level 2. This is very interesting for BT here, as he is going to have to go up and around to make his way down to get the Triforce, because he cannot bomb through the old man room. So he's going to have to go up left AB, up left down right AB, start select. I believe that's how he's going to have to get there, but I'm not sure.
Fred opting to use bombs to try and clear this blue Wizrobe room. If I saw correctly, a blue Wizrobe did die to 2 bomb hits, so they have 8 or fewer hit points.
And Fred is rewarded by the wand.
Definitely a good find. It's not going to work against the Wizrobes, but just about any other creature that you can hurt with a sword, Ganon excluded, you can hurt with the wand.
Yeah, and that is kind of ironic there that the Wizrobes were guarding the item that sends out the same beams that they shoot. I always find that enjoyable.
One of the other bonuses with the wand is it does the same amount of damage that a white sword does, which is double what his wood sword is going to be doing.
And the other added benefit to having the wand is if Fred decides he wants to push both buttons at the same time, it's going to allow him to actually deal with the damage of both the sword and the wand, which means he'll be doing 3 hit points of damage with every swing.
While we're singing the praises of the wand does not get taken away when you pop a bubble.
That is also true, and that can be a huge detriment, especially in one of those rooms where you got 3 bubbles floating around and Wall Master just being an absolute pain. Fred there in level 2 has his 6th heart, so now he's going to be guaranteed to grab the magical key when he comes across it as well. So that is going to mean that resource management we were talking about earlier on here, that means neither one of them is going to have to worry about keys, so the big resource management is going to, in fact, be bombs.
And considering Fred has already purchased 1 bomb upgrade, he's probably not going to be as worried about that. Oh, that is a very tricky room to navigate without taking any hits. 6 blue Wizrobes flying
and Patrick guards the path of the Triforce.
Yeah, Patra and in the 4-corner fireball room, I would not blame Fred if he just said nope and saved this for later, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fred forgetting that this is one of his any roads there, as you see the head shake there from Fred realizing, wait, I've made a horrible mistake.
Fortunately for him, as we know, he's going to be coming across the White Sword Cave here shortly, and we'll be picking up that any key. He will be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. There's... Let's learn to talk here. Okay, there is never anything wrong with picking up an any key, and Aquamentus awaits. We know what Aquamentus awaits with, so that 10 rupee hint, while it is nice to find and nice to be, a normal hint, it is basically kind of trolly there because we already knew the information. And the Wall Masters there are going to be guarding that Triforce in, this is level 6, I believe, that BT is back in. So that is a nice find there, a nice early Triforce again.
Fred picking up his any key. And up Ain out of a door repair.
And it looks like we've got another ladder block there over on Breasticle's side of things. So this is turning, looking like it's going to be like the seat I was watching last night, where there was 4 ladder blocks, and the ladder was the drop item in level 1, guarded by a room full of 6 blue dark nets each with 10 hit points. That's what this is starting to feel like.
Breastickle working on this Patra here. It does seem like the little Patras have fewer hit points than normal. He's able to take care of them quite quickly with a wooden sword. Gets a heart container for his troubles.
Nothing wrong with that. And he does come across a staircase here. So hopefully for BT, this staircase is the item and not a stairway to deep in the dungeon. And it is the item, and it is the bow it is. So now BT can take out all those gomas he's been seeing, and that's actually a really, really nice and easy level 6.
Fred made his way back into level 3 since he had the any key, and comes across the item room and Hart himself. Level 3 is going to hold the white sword.
That is gigantic because in the Elite 8 seeds, as we've seen, the white sword item is shuffled. The white sword itself is shuffled into all the dungeon drops. So there are times when you could end up seeing the white sword in level 9, which it tends to do a lot of. So that's a very, very interesting that they're going to be both able to have the white sword here. It's going to make delving through 9 a lot easier, and it's going to make it so that heart containers throughout the rest of the game aren't as much of a priority, because they're not going to be hopefully and praying that they can get a 10 heart magical sword.
Fred getting himself an embarrassment worth of bombs from these gorillas and rune drops. Looking for his Triforce piece. That's all he wants out of here.
And
Breastickle. Go ahead.
No, please.
It's Breastickle coming across the white sword himself. A very crucial find for him is he does not have the wand.
Yeah, absolutely. And now what I was going to say here is the interesting thing about this dungeon here is that we are seeing the multiple hit ropes, and those are always interesting to find, especially because these are multiple hit ropes when both runners have either the white sword or the wand, an item that deals 2 hit points worth of damage. So these ropes are very, very angry snakes, and because they continuously charge at you, multiple hit ropes are very obnoxious to deal with sometimes, but they can be easily dispatched with a well-placed candle shot.
Fred finding his Triforce in level 3, heading out to do more exploration, finding the bonus cave.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with a bonus cave there, especially because we've already got candle, so getting more hearts is nice. And the one thing for Fred is the more hearts he finds before he makes his way back up to the waterfall is good, because if he gets to at least 10, he'll have a chance to pick up the magical sword before he goes back to level 8, because the magical sword, as we know, is underneath the waterfall directly to the south of where level 8 is located.
Breastickle also picking up the Triforce in level 3 as Fred continues to clear out the southern coast.
Absolutely, and Fred is going to come across the latter item being Red Candle here, because if you remember earlier on in the seed, he was right here at the Coast Cave, but opted to not take a look at the item, but he is going to be able to discover what it is now.
Sees that it's the candle. It's gonna opt to head through and burn the rest of the forest here.
Nothing wrong with going ahead and burning the forest, but make sure when you're burning the forest you do so responsibly, because only Link can prevent forest fires, or in this case forest fairies. Please, please, please prevent the forest fairies. So now the advantage here is BT has the power bracelet, which is going to allow him to explore these other spots here. He's already explored 2, and he's already rewarded with another heart container, getting a bonus cave here. And that's going to put him up to 9 hearts. He is 1 away from the magical sword. And Fred, on the other hand, still has to get the power bracelet, which we know is buried not fairly deep into level 8. But before that, BT is going to make his way back into level 1, where he is going to be pleasantly pleased to acquire these silver arrows here.
With a plethora plethora of bombs in tow, it looks like Fred is headed over towards the Death Mountain region of Hyrule.
It would absolutely make a ton of sense, considering you need 9 bombs technically to excavate all of Death Mountain. And the reason I say technically is because Fred is going to be able to save himself 1 bomb on this trip, because the upper left, that 1 bomb located in the upper left section of Hyrule, that has already been taken care of because it's one of the any roads. And BT has acquired the raft here in the NSU room, and he has quite a bit of hearts here, so he's going to opt to attempt to stab these Dark Nuts to death here. And so far, it looks like he's doing a fairly good job. It manages to avoid getting hit at all, and then he is rewarded with a heart, so he can now fire his sword beams at the Dark Nuts here, and hope that that's going to be able to keep him out of harm's way.
Fred finding the letter over on his end, so should he come across a potion shop, he does have the option to buy a potion.
He also had the option to take one there, but chose to take the heart instead, giving him 9 as well, and he is 1 heart away from having a 20% chance at the magical sword. And Breastickle, meanwhile, there's your first one of the guy, go ahead and take it, is going to be acquiring the silver arrow, so he has a 100% chance of being able to kill Ganon now.
Fred taking quite a beating from those Octoroks. Fortunately, is able to get past them.
Yeah, but Fred does have to be careful here because he is still sitting on half a heart, and he really doesn't want to have to go through it and delve through all of this again. BT coming across another bonus cave at the same time, and Fred decides he's going to just wave to that Genie as he decides to go into the grave and gets rewarded with the treasure that Genie was buried with, a nice sum of 34 rupees. Fred looking like he's going to opt to burn through the dead woods as opposed to go and excavate up on Death Mountain, and he misses his candle burn there, so that's going to cost him a little bit of the time.
He's come across cheap bait himself. Opts not to purchase it. I did not see if he purchased it earlier or not. No, Breastickle did.
I don't believe that Fred purchased the meat earlier, so it's going to be definitely an interesting call. I mean, we know that there's only one spot where the bait can be blocking you in the game, so it's not necessarily something you need, but at the one point when you need it, you really wish you had it. So BT getting sniped by a couple of the Wizrogues there. It's going to be very interesting for Breastickle here in level 2, because not only is this a Wizrogue dungeon, but Patra is guarding the Triforce up at the very, very top of the Crescent Moon. So this dungeon is just all kinds of pure terror to get into. And speaking of dungeons that are pure anything, the dungeon that Fred has just entered into looks like it's going to be pure ice cold. And based on the dungeons we know we're missing, this is level 4.
Having to get through this Leok, not fun. He's opting just to tank through it rather than trying to kill it.
Do you see the that I see right there, Taco?
They're Vyres.
Yep.
Vyres mean Wizrogues.
And that is not good. So Fred opting to not bother taking the map out of the pancake there. He is going to, though, have to kill these 5 pancakes, and it looks like they are not going to be too difficult here, utilizing the wand sword trick, only taking a couple of hits. So that is nice. So Fred is going to have to just beam the crap out of that one with the wand, so that's good. And we've come across the item here. Hopefully for Fred, it's the ladder, and it is not. It is the inferior model. So now we know that the ladder is either in level 5 or level 7. Which now, with that piece of information, that does confirm all of the items and where they potentially are here in the game. So we're about 40 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick review as to what all the items are as Fred gets the Triforce in level 4. So here we go. Level 1 contained the silver arrows and the raft. Level 2 contained the wand. Level 3 had the white sword. We just found out Level 4 contained the inferior model. Level 5's item is MIA, but it's either going to be the recorder or the ladder. Level 6 had the bow. Level 7 will have the item that is not in Level 5. Again, either the recorder or the ladder. Level 8 had the heart container and the power bracelet, which means by process of elimination, Level 9 has the book and the red ring. Because the ladder item is red candle, the Armos item was Lord Banana, and the white sword item was the magical key.
Very lovely.
Thank you.
We have to remember, for Fred's logic, he did not get the power bracelet out of level 8, so he may be wondering if the ladder is the second item in there, considering he still has to go back for the Triforce. He may be trying to do that in a bit. He's going to head to level 6 first, it looks like.
Yeah, and he's going to be rewarded nicely here because the bow is in level 6, and he's going to end up being rewarded with it because he's going to go a couple rooms north here and wind up ladder blocked. So he hopefully should just check out the rooms to the right here, the entrance, and get rewarded with the bow the same way that Breastickle was earlier. Breastickle is now taking the rest of the ending roads because he found one up on the raft spot by level 4, the vanilla level 4 raft spot, which did bring him up to Death Mountain, but unfortunately he did not have the explosives to properly excavate Death Mountain, so he is now going to be making his way to the screen where he died earlier, and he's going to find himself level 7.
Now, since Breastickle has found quite a slew of items, finding level 7 this late, the question is he going to opt to take time and search for the item if he happens to find the Triforce early, like Fred did? Which he is.
Well, at this point, there's only so many more items that he can find. I mean, he knows that the ladder and recorder are both still out there, and he has, 3 dungeons left to find here. So, I mean, delving through 7 here, we know it's either going to be 5 or 7, so it makes sense for BT to delve into level 7 here because we could be in one of those situations where it's, recorder buried in 7, ladder in 5, which is under the lake. Fred now, we have the vertical shoot room in level 7 on Breastickle's side, and Fred is now making his way back into level 8, where he will find the another heart container, because if you remember, he retried initially, so he doesn't have this heart container, and he will also again find the power bracelet. So that's actually going to be good for him, considering that the magical sword is right underneath where he is located, so he can give it a try at 11 hearts when he's done here.
Very nice manhandle of kill on Fred's side.
BT noping his way up on out of level 7, and looks like he's come across another stairway here, which we know is the one that just takes him where he doesn't want to go. But we do have a reverse C, so this could be interesting here. So that's actually a very quick level 7, all things considered. We know where the Triforce is nice and early, and this is going to be the item. So, like I said, I want this to be the reporter, but let's take a look. And it's the ladder. I'm not going to get my wish, but we do have the ladder, and that's actually a very, very quick level 7, considering how trolley level 7s tend to be.
Yeah, item is early, Triforce is early.
And the thing about that is very disappointing for Fred is he's already been in there, so he is actually going to have to go back into 7 to get that ladder. We know this because, well, level 8's Triforce is ladder blocked. And that's going to be very disheartening for Fred because he's currently in level 8. So when he discovers that, he's going to be very, very disappointed. BT now, he is down the Lost Wood, so he is going to come across level 4, which we know has an item he is not going to care about, unless, of course, he decides he wants to take it just to troll me, which I wouldn't put it past anybody to do that here, even though this is a race. So we now are in level 4, and we seem to have an overabundance of these blue pallets in here tonight. Speaking of overabundance of things, there's never an overabundance of clock when there are so many dark nuts around. Fred getting a clock to make his life in this room a little bit easier.
One interesting thing is Fred did pass through the second bomb upgrade room and chose not to purchase the bomb upgrade. I can only wonder that at this point he knows that only important items are left, so the red ring has to be a 9. I would debate with 250 rupees, he's probably going to go purchase the blue ring, which he did find a shop for earlier.
I mean, that absolutely makes sense considering, because yeah, the three items that Fred knows are left are the reporter, the ladder, and the power bracelet, because he has found everything else, including the heart container here in level 8. So he's going to come across the fact that he is ladder blocked here in this room. The one good thing that he does have is he can kill all of the Gibdos here to get himself out of it, because he has the wand. Now, unfortunately, the boomerang that Fred has access to cannot grab that heart container. I really wish it could. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it's none of the boomerangs or arrows can grab what I call floor items. You know, items that enemies drop, they can do that, but if it's your reward for clearing a room or the reward that's just sitting out open in a room, those actually have to be physically picked up by Link.
Yeah, it's a very interesting mechanic considering if it's like you said, a floor set of bombs, you can't get it, but a regular set of bombs that an enemy drops, you can. I find that very, very interesting. And we have the potential of, yeah, we got some troll stairs in level 8. So actually, this is a very interesting debate that was just brought up in the chat, and I want your opinion on this one, because you brought up the bomb upgrade here, and let's see what Fred's going to do about it. But would you purchase the second bomb upgrade to get yourself to 20 bombs, or would you purchase the blue ring?
Me, personally, I would go with the ring. As I mentioned earlier, I love having the extra defense because I tend to just kind of charge in, and I don't have the finesse for dodging and evading damage as well as some of the better players. You know, he's got 14 bombs possible, which isn't necessarily enough for 9, but it is quite a fair amount. Fred's probably comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. And it looks like we have got BT still making his way through level 4. The angry Wizrobes deciding that they don't want to play nicely at all.
Yeah, green tunic, 3 hearts. It can be rather tricky. Given where level 4 is located, if push comes to shove, BT can leave, refill at the fairy fountain there in the dead woods, and come back.
Yeah, that is one of the nice things about level 4 being in level 3's spot. Unfortunately, he's going to scope here and discover, nope, that's a blue boomerang. I want nothing to do with that. Nope.
Fred is struggling to skip past this manhandler. Finally manages to get it and gets the power bracelet as his reward.
Yeah, so BT able to ladder clip there and pick up the Triforce. So he now has level 4's Triforce. So he still is looking for level 5. He needs to go back and get the Triforce out of 2, go back and get the Triforce out of 8. And level 9 is still MIA as well. So BT going to use one of his 2 remaining bombs to blow a hole here in the second to last cave on the far left of Hyrule and be rewarded with a 136 rupee large secret. Fred, meanwhile, taking his raft, and look at that, raft required, level 5 on the East Coast raft spot. Look at that.
Wow.
That is gigantic, because you mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Fred going back for the raft, about him taking the gamble that East Coast raft spot was required, and you were absolutely correct, Taco. Go buy a lottery ticket. Yeah, the chat's getting all hot and bothered now, hoping that the recorder that Fred's going to find here at level 5 is the required item needed to get to level 9. Everyone wants it to be under the lake.
I wouldn't put it past, the randomizer doing that. We have seen trollier things. However, the odds game is going to say that level 9 is up on Death Mountain somewhere.
True, but we have not seen the on blank as an entrance to death hint yet, so I really am hoping and praying that we see by a lake as an entrance to death so much.
I think as far as trolliness goes, the real kicker here would be if level 5 is ladder blocked.
That would be. That would be absolutely all kinds of troll. And that would be something the randomizer would pull. And meet the human along the river. That's telling us where the magical sword is, but both of our runners already knew the location of the magical sword. Both of them found it on their treks up to level 8. Although Fred is going to have to make that trek yet again because he was ladder blocked out of 8. BT is also going to have to make it because he was also ladder blocked there. So both of them are at least going to have a chance at getting the magical sword. And even though Fred found the Triforce there, he is going to absolutely be looking for the item because he's hoping and praying it's the ladder and not the recorder. But unfortunately, it is the recorder. Fred now getting the step over the water to reach the red ring hint, which we know is telling us, hey, brah, that's in level 9. Fred also knows that because of the way the items break down, and there is the recorder. So Fred coming to the realization that he has to go back into level 7.
Yeah, fortunately for him, it was only a couple rooms further up than the Triforce was, so he's not spending, eternity in a day looking for the item here.
No, and the one good thing is Fred already did grab the Triforce out of level 7, so he can just record her back to it. And speaking of grabbing things, BT has now grabbed the third and final large secret in the game, which is going to max out his rupee purse at 255.
Yeah, and he's on the screen that's got the blue ring shop. He's going to go in and make that purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, there's no reason not to. You got the money right here. Increase your defense, always good.
Yeah, well, for Breasticle's side, he knows he has to go through one of the bomb upgrades to go back through level 8. So he could have potentially saved that money to get a bomb upgrade, because it would have been right in his path.
He could have absolutely have done that. And Fred whistling to 3 here. Looks like he's going to try and check out. I thought he was going to try and check out that coast, actually the desert power bracelet spot. But whistling to 3 is definitely interesting. I thought he would whistle to 7.
You know, I'm wondering if he's going to screen clip over and also go make a blue ring purchase. He'd need a couple more rupees at this point.
Yeah, but picking up 4 rupees isn't something you're going to... It's completely out of the ordinary and unexpected here, especially considering there's a lot of rupee dropping enemies on the overworld now. Finding them is going to be something different, but there are definitely enemies that will do that. And we still have yet to find level 9 up in Death Mountain, although BT did find a small secret, which is going to give him 17. And I guess you were probably right about Fred coming over here to get a blue ring.
Yeah, it's unfortunately for him, he was using arrows to kill some of the enemies and managed to, go below 250. He's also going to check this power bracelet spot while he's here.
He will be rewarded at least by the magical sword hint, which is not the reward he was hoping for. He knows he is 3 rupees short of getting the jewelry he came here to acquire, but thankfully there are some Octoroks right here, and they like to tend to drop rupees, assuming they want to cooperate. There's one, and you need 2 more here, but he is still 2 rupees short of that delicious, delicious jewelry.
Yeah, he's probably going to head here, spawn multiple Guineas, kill the master one, and hope that the spawn drop rupees, which they did.
Yeah, that's always one of my favorite tricks is to spawn multiple Guineas and then use the master-coded enemy to take care of it. So I always enjoy seeing runners do that here. And BT is going to drop a bomb on Spectacle Rock on his way by and explore the open cave up here. And we have a gambling game there on the open cave. So let's... wait, is level 9 going to be where it normally is? Yes, it is! Well, what do you know? Look at that. Level 9, Spectacle Rock is, in fact, an entrance to death.
Fred's just going to clip over to where level 7 is, rather than pulling out the recorder. Now, we know that it is fairly early in the dungeon. Now, for Fred's sake, hopefully he finds it early on.
Yeah, he just has to go 1 room north of where he is now, and he's going to find it. And thankfully, he's not able to bomb right, and there is the reverse C room. And I'm pretty sure Fred knows that this is going to be the room because he's already seen the reverse C with the drop, if I recall correctly.
Yes, I believe the reverse C with the drop was in its normal location of level 3, and magical sword grab for Breastickle.
Yes, 11 heart or less magical sword. So that's nice. So when Fred goes back up to level 8, that means he can grab the magical sword as well.
So Fred only having to complete 2 and 8, yet he still has to find level 9 on his end. Breastickle having to finish 2, 8, and has to find and complete level 5.
Yeah, so this is very interesting because each runner still has to find 1 dungeon left, and the thing is Fred has the harder time finding that. He's going to have the harder time finding that dungeon because he has to explore all of Death Mountain, whereas BT, the places where level 5 can be are very, very limited. And Breastickle knows for a fact that level 5 can't be under the lake because the recorder has to be in there. So this is a very, very interesting scenario we've found ourselves in when it comes to both runners having to find a dungeon. Just the amount of spaces left to look are what's really going to be the deciding factor here.
Another option that Fred has that I don't think he will take up, but there's the chance that level 8 has that hint of where level 9 is located, and since he has to go back through level 8 anyway, he could theoretically explore some of the rooms in 8 he hasn't been in to try and find that hint.
That is absolutely a true theory here, but Breastickle is going to be picking up his Triforce out of level 8, also steals the heart from that Gibdo on his way by. Breastickle's a charming man, being able to steal the heart right away from a mummy like that. And he's now going to be 2 Triforces away from where he needs to be, level 2s and level 5s, and it looks like he is making a beeline for the raft spot. So BT has to know that that's where it is. I'm assuming he's got a full Overworld clear at this point. Now, lag playing a little bit of a factor here in this Patra room because you have all the little Patra kids plus the 4 fireballs. So Fred taking a fair few bops there from that, but is rewarded with some bombs and, more importantly, access to the Triforce room, which is in its normal location in level 2. And oh my god, there's enemies in the Triforce room!
He manages to get it without a hitch.
Yeah, that's just all kinds of crazy there with having to take out Patra to walk yourself into a Triforce room with the magical breakfast delight there of whiz robes and pancakes. So now this is where things are going to get interesting because Fred is going to be making his way all the way back up to level 8. Now, it's interesting he opted to walk here as opposed to up an A and then head back up that way. So he wanted to keep his hearts for this, which I'm not saying is a bad idea at all, but this is the type of race, the close type of race where every second could potentially count.
Well, he did recorder to level 3 to get him a little bit closer. He's going to stop in the waterfall, pick up a magical sword for himself. Breastickle stopping in to get that recorder will make traversing back to level 9 slightly easier.
Yeah, but there's really not a whole lot of places that are close to level 9. I mean, the best thing for him to do is probably, whistle to like 1 or 2 and take the any road, but the any road puts him at the western half of Death Mountain, not the eastern half, so there's really not a good place.
Level 8 would be his best option. He could just walk down and then over towards Death Mountain.
True. I mean, the other option here is taking a look at it, and looks like we have the bait block in level 5, so BT is going to give the Dark Nut the stake and move on. But the one other option that BT has is whistling to 1, going up to the any road, and taking the any road up to the forgotten spot, and that's actually going to put him the closest to 9.
BT having a little bit of trouble finding the Triforce here in level 5.
So that's going to give Fred a huge advantage. We know it was only a couple of rooms away from where the recorder was, so I think BT has passed by it already. Fred with a full complement of bombs here. He just has to make his way and get that Triforce, and if he can do it with a full complement of bombs, he is going to be in a very nice position because he is going to be able to go and excavate Death Mountain and still have some bombs with him on his trip through level 9. And that is the 8th and final Triforce that Fred is going to need here. So now the big question for Fred, of course, is where is level 9? Well, level 9 just happens to be where level 9 likes to normally be, and that's in Spectacle Rock, but Fred does not know that, so it's going to be interesting to see if he chooses to do the eastern half of Death Mountain first, or the western half of Death Mountain first.
I would expect him to do the eastern. The spares are right here. There's less up here to go check and then backtrack for, whereas if he was going to trek all the way to the west and it's not there, he'd have to come all the way back. this is definitely the logical move.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've seen, when it comes to randomizers, you're sitting here and you definitely see things differently from the booth. But you're sitting here and you're like, wait, why isn't he doing X or Y? And then you're like, well, this is the most logical thing. And half the time when playing randomizer, logic gets thrown out the window. But we are now in level 9, everybody, and we do have 2 directions to go. And this is a huge hint immediately for Fred. The kidnapped awaits in the northeast of the skull, so we do know where Zelda is going to be found, and that's in that northeast quadrant of the skull where Fred's going to be making his way towards right now. So we might find Zelda before we find Ganon here. If one thing to note here is I wasn't necessarily paying attention to it earlier, but BT now gets the compass in level 5. But Red Wizrobes do have more HP than they normally do because the magical sword is taking 2 hits to kill the Wed Wizwobes, because that's the way you have to say it is Wed Wizwobe. And we do have a Zelda find right there for Fred. She's pretty easy to find. She's simply just an up A away.
Yeah, so now it's just how quickly can he find Ganon?
Oh, right now he is managing to continue his path through level 9 without taking any stairs at first, which is very, very nice. And that is going to be the Triforce out of level 5 for Breastickle. So he actually has to make his way still to level 2 first before he can go up to level 9. So Fred definitely has a decided advantage at entering into level 9. And oh shoot. And in that oh shoot room, Fred hears Ganon. So we do have a Ganon sighting here. And yet Ganon is right below him. Fred is going to take this race assuming he can kill Ganon. He doesn't have any potion, but he has got 12 hearts, blue tunic, and magical sword. This is a nice, easy level 9. Hopefully Fred can take care of it. That's 2 hits. That's the 3rd hit. And Ganon not wanting to cooperate here. That is the 4th hit, and that is going to be it for Ganon. So all Fred has to do is going to be up A away, and he made sure the door opened, so that is going to be it. Fred's going to up A, and he is going to be done with Zelda before Breastickle even makes his way into level 9. Huge, huge 9 for Fred there.
Getting a friendly reminder of where Zelda is located, just in case you forgot.
Hey, at Fred's age, he might have. And there it is. That is going to be it. And that is going to be Fred finishing in first place with a time of 68 minutes and 32 seconds. That's going to give him a first place win here in this race. So Fred is going to be moving on to face the winner of the Jay Coper and Dr. Jason Kimball match, while BT is going to be done here in the tournament. He is going to be first continuing it through level 2 to continue on and hopefully finish this seed up.
BT making short work of that Patra. Gonna head into the Triforce room, greeted by Wizrobes. Picks up his final Triforce.
Yeah, there is nothing fun about that room, and from the badong noise I hear in my ears, that means we have got Fred here in the chat with us. Am I correct?
You would be correct.
Congratulations on your win, sir.
Thank you.
So, first things first, how about that 9, Fred?
That was kind of crazy. I was terrified on the entire time there that BT was going to be somewhere close by, so pretty much I was just going as fast as I could, room to room, and praying.
Well, you'll be happy to know that you finished 9 before BT even got there. He's on his way right now.
Oh, geesh.
Yeah, it's Breastickle unfortunately missed the Triforce in 5 his first time through that room, so he ended up full clearing, getting the compass in the last possible room, and having to backtrack.
Ouch. That's not cool.
So, what are your thoughts about this seed overall?
Well, when I discovered the lovely fact that the ladder was somewhere in 7, I was saying I went into a panic mode because I was like, oh gosh, he probably dug and found it. And then, of course, I discovered it right near start, and that led to even more of the panic type mode. And then I just went and basically tried to go as fast as I could. I didn't know where 9 was there after I finished the rest of the dungeon, so it was truly a case of exploring stuff. I was actually really hoping either to find the 4th potion or heart shop, or a bunch of secrets so that way I could get more money, because I don't usually like doing level 9 on White Ring or anything like that. But at least with Magical Sword being at most 11, it turned out to be better than I was hoping, and I got lucky that the path in 9 there didn't have a ton of Wizrobes on it.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be me if I didn't ask. First item you get in the game is Lord Banana. How'd he do for you?
Actually used it a lot more than I expected, especially early on, because it took me a while to find that wooden sword. I found it eventually, but the stunning capabilities of it actually turned out useful, so thank you, Greenleaf, for your lovely Lord Banana.
See, I mean, overall, this really wasn't a hugely trolly scene. I guess the biggest sort of troll that happened to you was your first time going into 1, getting sniped in that dark nut room that had the raft. And it turns out the raft was required to get to level 5. But overall, just thoughts in general on this being one of the quote-unquote easier seeds from a trolling level that we've seen in the tournament.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, there were 2 trolls. There was the raft there in that room where, you probably weren't going to have ladder at that point, so you had to dodge the dark nuts really well to get to it, and it cost that a little bit. I mean, the other major troll was the fact that the only major ladder block that seemed to be in the game was the Triforce in 8. At least I'm pretty sure it was ladder blocked. I may have missed a bomb somewhere, but that one, full clearing 8 to discover A, that was blocked, and then B, that the second item in level 8 was not the ladder. That started, that was a little bit, I guess you could call it trolly, but just all things considered, it really wasn't too bad. You got the white sword semi-early, got, decent weaponry going throughout the game, got the wand nice and early. That was really lucky with the dungeon it was in to find that wand where it was. And just in general, it wasn't too bad.
Interrupt you real quick. BT on 1 heart strats does manage to take out Ganon before being Hyrule Drivered into obscurity here. So he now just has to make his way through this shoot room and find out where Zelda is.
Does he know where Zelda is, or did he find a different path?
He received the hint, but he did not find her door as you did.
Okay. He should be able to get it pretty quickly, I'd hope.
Yeah, he knows the region it's in. It shouldn't take him too much longer.
Yeah, however, he is going to get sniped by those red Landmolas as he walks into that room as they spawn. So actually, dying here is probably not the worst thing for him, because it is going to put him kind of on the path he needs to go.
Yeah, if he follows along that path again, yeah, he should hopefully find that.
So yeah, I know you mentioned that you wanted to find a potion shop earlier there. So is going into 9 with only blue ring and no potion something you don't normally do?
No. That one usually scares me. I'm better than I used to be when it comes to fighting Wizrobes, but it is certainly not something I'm very good at. I tend to get sniped a lot more. I have problems paying attention on the periphery of my vision. If I'm focusing on Link, making sure that the guys near him, I'm staying on the teams. On the guys far away, will just snipe me without a problem.
Yeah, and we do have a Zelda get on Breasticle's end. A time 1 hour, 14 minutes, 55 seconds.
And speaking of that, I heard that badonk noise again, so I believe that means Breastickle is with us as well.
What the heck are you saying about my badonkadonk?
No, I said that
It's very
the
lovely.
badonk was the noise that Discord
you,
makes.
Donko.
But yes, I haven't seen your badonkadonk, so I don't know whether it's lovely or not. I'm just gonna have to trust Taco.
Yeah, just have more, BT stream time when the cam is on. Eventually
Well,
I'll stand up.
I did see you enjoying a freeze pop at the beginning of the stream.
Heck yes. Don't you guys call them Italian ices where you are?
No,
Nope.
when Italian ice is in the cup of freeze pops, the actual freeze pop that you were eating.
That's a dialect thing. We call them otter pops because they have otters on them.
We call them freeze pops because that's what the box says. Freeze pop.
That's funny. Some funny stuff.
Anyways,
So-
congratulations on a seed well played, sir.
Dude, what's going on, Fred?
I don't know. That was a unique seed there.
I mean, it was really easy seed with some tough rooms in it, no?
Easy seed with a couple of tough rooms. How early did you find the ladder? Out of curiosity.
As mid-game, probably. About
Okay.
35 in.
Did you clear 8 before you found the ladder, or?
I had trouble in 8, and so I didn't know that it was ladder blocks until I'd already died 3 times, and that was pretty much how my entire run was going. I couldn't get the information without dying for it first and then going back.
Yeah, I had some similar troubles. I just kept trying to get in there, get up to figure out where it was, because of course we found the compass early, kept dying on the way over there, and then, okay, it's ladder blocked, and then, okay, it's not in here.
No, mine was
That
way
hurt.
worse. Mine was way worse, because I found
Okay.
8 before I found the magical key. So I was like, oh, I have to get over there. I don't have a key. None of these rooms drop keys. I finally got over there, and then I needed a key. So I needed a key to learn that I needed the ladder. Got the key, went back to 8, found it out that I needed the ladder after I had found my M key. So that was about 17 minutes. It
Ouch, sorry.
was pretty awful. And then there was a Patra blocking a bow,
Oh, yeah.
and then there was a Patra blocking a Triforce? No.
Yes, Triforce and 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, because you had to kill a Patra in a fireball room to get to the Triforce, and then dodge whiz ropes in the actual Triforce room.
So this is actually my preferred type of seed. This is a much more skill-based seed. My Overworld was pretty bad too. I thought it was going really well because I just bought a candle early and cleared out most of the game, but I got to the point where it was either 7 or Raft 2 for my last dungeon, so I didn't get over there to check Raft 2 for a long time.
Yeah, I just ended up, I had a death or something at just the right time, and I said, well, as long as I'm here, let me go check it. Oh, shoot, this is here.
What was the item in 2 and where was it?
2 was the wand. I think it was up left from start. I think it was in the bottom tip. I could be wrong on exactly where it was, but I did get lucky and found it early.
Oh, that's good. So the red ring was definitely a 9.
Yeah, red ring and book, I'm pretty sure, were the 2 and 9, based on what I'm reading.
Did you buy blue?
I definitely bought blue, yeah.
Yeah.
I went potionless into 9, just because I was out of money at that point.
Yeah, I was kind of low on money. So I was I found the letter guy and I was like, I'll just buy a potion, I don't even care. And then I found the big secret and I was like, I'm gonna go buy a blue ring, I don't care. But then I could never really afford a potion after that. That didn't really matter.
Yeah, I bought a bomb
Ganon-
upgrade, I bought the
nice.
wooden arrows that would have been nice, except that, the standard rule of randomizer, you buy the wood arrows,
Yep.
5 minutes later you find the silver arrows, before you even found the bow, so...
Yeah, I had my bow and arrows pretty early. I was shooting them at ropes, so I had a little bit of damage going, but
Yeah, I was wanding them, if I remember.
yeah, that would have been nice. I found a white sword pretty early, so that made my run pretty agreeable.
Yeah, I definitely didn't go back to 3 early enough to take full advantage of that. I made it clear at one point, I think after another death, but I was able to take care of it then.
I find it really ironic. I was hanging out in Unos' stream, and the 2 Gamers guy was asking about randomizer strategy. And I was like, yeah, I don't explore any dungeons until I have a sword, and I totally did not do that this time. I was like, oh, dungeon, no sword, I wonder if I can find anything. And then, so I lost a good 45 to 90 seconds early in each dungeon because I didn't have a sword or keys or anything. But
Yeah,
let me know.
sometimes it doesn't hurt, because if you get that key item, you find that wand.
Yeah.
I think you had to actually clear the enemies in 2, so I needed at least a wood sword. But when you go back in there and you explore 2 rooms, and now all of a sudden you've doubled your attack power even if you have to up A at that point and go back later, you've got good information. So it's a catch-22.
With like just bombs. Like went in with 8 bombs and bombed everything and picked up a pack of bombs off some red dark nuts, but
yeah,
it's like a lot of things. It just ended up being big. So I personally recommend not doing anything. Just go and find the sword, but it didn't work out too horribly. I think if I didn't die 10 times, I probably would have had really close to an hour. So
yeah, no, that wouldn't have surprised me at all. I was terrified as I was running through the last couple of dungeons that you were there. And that you were somewhere already in 9, wandering around. So,
Fred, I will always be there.
I figured.
Watching you, bracing you, right behind you. But yeah, you definitely. I've seen you improve a lot, and I can't wait until you crush out some. You try that 100%. It's kicking around.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
With your newfound confidence, you should definitely put up some really good times. I know you don't have much time for the grind, but you'll get one. You'll get one eventually.
Thank you. We'll see. I hate getting past 3 and 4, so probably still staying with that 2 first route.
And the rest of your tournament does not look pleasant at all, so enjoy Jen, J. Coper, and Saver.
Yeah, that's going to be an ugly, ugly, ugly combination.
It's all... You've done it all. You've made this happen. It's all your fault. Blame Fred.
Blaming Fred is always a correct decision when randomizer
is here.
When randomizer is involved. Everything else, you know who to blame. Everybody, you know. So with that, is there anything else either of you would like to say before we sign off tonight?
No.
Oh, great race there, BT. It's great seeing you in the tourney, and hopefully get to continue playing with you more here as we go.
Oh yeah, for less honor.
There you have it, folks. If you haven't done so already,